Oh, there we are. We're on. Michelle Bakker, welcome to the Luke Farr Show to motivate, educate, and inspire our next generation of leaders. Very familiar face.
Nice to see you again, Luke.
In fact, is it the exact same location?
Yes,
I think it is.
It is. Good spotting.
And I think you've got the same attire on. You were wearing black last time, I think, from memory.
Chances are pretty high I was wearing black. Chances are pretty good. You can't really go wrong there.
Very good. For the audience out there, I think let's hand the microphone over to you. Like, run us through, who you are. yeah. Look, I read through your CV. I read it all, but it's always better from the horse's mouth, right?
Well, yeah, it is, and also too, I think it's tricky because I feel like I wear a couple of different hats. And also, you're constantly evolving and stuff. So I think, kind of in a nutshell, I suppose, born in New Zealand. My mother's family are from Samoa, and from Aotearoa, Samoa. And I was raised with just family and music. Family music, joy, lots of food. And so I ended up moving into the music business straight from school, really, and ended up following that. And I moved to America and worked at the record plant and spent some time there, which was incredible, a recording studio. And then ended up meeting Eddie Van Halen, and I ended up becoming a music manager via Eddie, really, and ended up managing Zemboy, which was Eddie Van Halen's guitar tech's band. So suddenly I'm, in Los Angeles, right in the heartbeat of a really exciting time in the music industry. You could just every day wake up and run something with your excitement or with your idea. It was a really incredible time, and so I became a music manager then and sort of stayed on that track. But in all that time, I was doing yoga daily, meditation, and very, very sort of like passionate even then about wellness. And I really think that comes again from my mother. So, being raised by mum, and I think she's so beautiful. And she's always sort of like really enjoyed her life, chose joy over everything. Whatever brings her joy, she chooses. But she never sort of like should have a glass of wine. Everything was sort of like in moderation. So there was the music, the joy, the laughter, the love, the family, and well-being. And I think I just kind of, as a little girl, you just sort of like you look at what your parents are doing more than what they're saying, I think. So I was always doing yoga and meditating, and then in the music business, which was kind of like, whoa, lots of late nights, lots of studios, lots of rock and roll at that time as well. And sort of, ended up kind of like bringing all of my yogic wisdom or yogic practices and everything into my music management. And I really feel like I became a yoga teacher, fully qualified, did the course, blah, blah, blah. But I really, truly feel that all those that have crossed my path as far as management goes and who I've worked with, I really feel it's been more along the lines on a spiritual lens, from a spiritual lens than anything else. So like if you're attracted to...
What do you mean by that exactly? Like, give us an example of how you access the spiritual lens in a music industry setting.
Yeah. Well, I think it's who I am. So like if you end up being aligned with me or in conversation with me, and then we end up working together, you'll know from the onset that I'm really about, values. I think really come first for me, like, being honest, being kind, treating each other with respect, good communication. And then that comes into the art. That comes into, but without those values first, like I'm not well, let's just go and sort of like create this, you know, like single, and we'll do whatever it takes to kind of get it out there. I'm not really of that mindset. I'm really of the mindset of
why are we doing this? Yeah.
Yeah,
and more so, is it aligned to my values? And yeah, just thinking a little bit deeper on it.
Yeah, you know, like, I mean, I think, you know, when I look, I was sort of like lately, I've been reflecting on all those that I've worked with, and I've been really blessed to work with who I've worked with. I mean, they're all beautiful beings, but we've had that spiritual connection within us, you know, and so I think that's just been there right from the word go, I guess. And so that's what, even when I was traveling all around the world managing bands and backstage, you know, I'd always bring in sort of breathing techniques that I would introduce into the artists before they'd go on stage. So, you know, smoothies, green veggie juices, you know, so all of that's been really part of it. So I think the well-being and the mental mindset has just always been at the forefront for me, first and foremost.
Which would you say you'd say that is quite unique, given the music industry back then, when it was sex, drugs and rock and roll, right? It wasn't exactly health conscious and well-being and let's do a meditation before we go on stage and connect with our chakras. It wasn't really that, was it? It was let's have a line of coke and get on stage.
Yeah, it was definitely not as it wasn't as light as it is now. Like, it wasn't like there's a real shining light on it now, but no, there wasn't then. And that, I think that was just, and also I was from New Zealand, so I'm living in Los Angeles, traveling the world, and never like got an American accent, you know. There was always this accent, and coming from New Zealand, with that sort of like, you know, that image of New Zealanders of down to earth, the beach, you know, nature, and so yeah, so I just kind of like carved my way through the music business, weaved my way through the music business, just being who I was. Always. Yeah.
Yeah. How do you think being in New Zealand was a massive advantage for you in that very high ego American scene?
Big time, because, you know, it's so easy to get people to pick up the phone, you know, because of the accent. They're like, oh my God, where are you from? So it was kind of like a little bit of a talking piece, but it was. But then the moment you said New Zealand, I know a lot of people say that Americans don't know where New Zealand is, but I never found that, you know. The response that I always got was, oh my God, like, oh my God, you come from New Zealand, you know. And you know, the people that I dealt with in my realm, they had this image of New Zealand of just being, you know, clean and green and ocean, and, you know, I mean, we're pretty sort of like grounded, you know, humans, I think, from New Zealand, human Kiwis. And yeah, so I think and being a woman as well at the time, you know, in the music, but, you know, so being a woman of spiritual mindset.
Was it quite sexist?
You know.
Go on, go deep, Michelle. Let's get into the nitty gritty.
I want to say it, but
you can't hold back on the Luke Farr show.
No, like, it's just like, I mean, you know, I've always wanted to get this. No, I shouldn't say it here, but I feel like sometimes I've wanted to say to acts that I've been working with, look, oh my God, like, you know, if you want to let me go and go with a male manager, it could happen quicker for you. You know, because I care so much, Luke. Like, I literally, like, I care so much about who I work with and what I do. Like, it's not work. I just care. And sometimes it's been like, I feel like I'm, you know, I've got a a sword, and I'm splashing my way through the forest to get to where I want to go. And I feel like sometimes, you know, like if I was a male, things would have happened a lot quicker for the bands that I've managed. And yeah, you know, and also too, you know, like it wasn't always easy being the only woman in the room.
Back to that sword though. Yeah, okay, Xena warrior princess.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're still using that sort on a regular basis?
I'm going to say no, because I've been in this business for too long now. Like, and so, I mean, pretty much, you know, who I need to know, I know, or whatever. And I think, you know, over time, Luke, consistency, who you are, you know, and I've never, like, I've kind of never left. So many of my colleagues have left the music business right now. I've been on the phone quite a lot in the last, I guess, month to colleagues overseas, and so many have left. You know, it's just like,
why are they leaving?
The music industry, I think it's just it's changed so much. You know, like, and I feel like, you know, when we care about what we do so much, but the business side of it is it's just changed. It's not as it was, and I think it's harder than it ever was. And yet it's not. Like, it's harder for, I guess, the industry, us managers, but like for musicians with social media, wow, like that, you know, that's limitless. You know, like, I mean, you know, that is limitless. So, you know, yes, it's harder, it's changed, but it's really exciting at the same time, you know, so.
Yeah, for sure. What do you ultimately love about what you do so much?
I love helping shine people's light bright. I love it. You know, like, I really love, for some reason, like, if we meet and you've got this gift and I get it, you know, and it doesn't happen with everyone. Like, you know, it's an alignment thing. I really think it's a vibrational frequency thing. I do. But I really love believing in you and helping you shine your light, no matter what that is. I love
it. And in turn, that shines your light. So that's a mutually beneficial light shining scenario.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I've never really thought about that. That's interesting. I've never really thought about that. It's so interesting. It's just
oh no, you go. Sorry, I was just going to unpack that a little bit. It's like, well, if that's what's ultimately making you vibrate, making you shine, seeing someone else shine and distribute their gift, and that's lighting your fire. There's two fires that are burning there, and I'm sure then that reciprocates with the person that's shining bright, seeing how frothed you are. So it's double froth levels. You know what I mean?
Double froth levels. I might just write that down. I like that, double froth levels. But yeah,
actually, Jack Jensen from a big shout out to Misfit Productions from the Hawke's Bay. He would love that, because he loves using that word froth. But froth means like high energy. Like, anyone that goes into a room and they're with the people that they love, or they're at a music gig that they love, or they're surfing and they just got the best barrel of their life. The froth levels are high.
I'm going to be using it now. Okay, I'm going to use it. It's great. I love it.
Also, when you fall in love with another human, the froth levels are high.
Yeah, I love that.
Sadly, that doesn't last too long these days. Divorce rates are at an all-time high, but we don't need to touch on that right now. This is not the Oprah Winfrey show. Back to Michelle. But look, you've very interesting, and we talked about it last time. Like, you've worked and met some big names, like you met Prince, and you know, you bumped shoulders with some pretty, not pretty, like very significant people. How's it been? Because we did talk about last time, like, how did you handle, and I'm throwing it out there as an assumption, I could be wrong here, but I am assuming, you know, very large egos, a high level of attitude, some arrogance along there as a recipe, but how did you build relationships with those types of personality traits?
To be honest, the more
you just walked away. You just walked away. You're like, I'm not telling you. I don't have time for.
Oh, no. It's I actually like, and again, this is only my experience. Remember, you know, like, so everyone's going to have a different experience with whomever, the same person. So you'll have a different experience with Prince than I, you know. So this is only my experience. But honestly, Luke, all the people that I've met, the more successful that they've been, the more down to earth, the more cool, the more kind, the more giving that they've been. It's that's the honest truth. It's literally the ones that are up and coming are the ones that carry those egos and you know and attitude. It's for me personally, it's not the really successful ones, you know, and I just have so much respect for, you know, the elite musicians or the elite sports players, because, you know, what it takes to get there, you know, the sacrifice, the compromise, you know, all of those things that it takes to get to that level, whether you're on the sports field or you're playing at a stadium. You don't just arrive there suddenly, you know, like it requires, and I have so much respect because it really does take a hell of a lot to get to that level. And yeah, so I never came across any, like, I mean, gosh, you know, I never came across anything like that.
Well, that's very fortunate, and that must be to do with the frequencies you're vibrating.
I reckon it is. I think it is.
Well, yeah, like law of attraction, right? Like attracts like. Like,
yeah.
you're a very warm, friendly, bubbly person with a well-managed ego, and you're not arrogant, you're not cocky, and all of that, and that only attracts that's surrounded by you, right? But you mentioned earlier around the term, which I like the one because it is just a simple term. When you said, "Oh, I just met," you can meet someone and they just come across as cool. What are they doing to be cool in your eyes? Like, what is cool? If we were to unpack that, like, cool to me will be different to you, but like we all have our, like you said, unique perspectives and nuances on things. But yeah, what's your version of cool?
Oh, that's a really great question. I mean,
just thought a bit on the spot, to be honest.
Yeah, it's a great question. It's a great question. God, I could go in there. The first thing that comes to mind is authenticity. So that's the first thing that comes to mind. Is like authenticity and truth for me. So whether or not, you know, you're whatever it is that you're coming into the room with, for me, if it feels authentic and it's true, and you're presenting a new book or whatever, I'll be like, oh my God, you're so cool. I think it's about being yourself. That, you know, like just being truly yourself. I don't know. I'm not there.
Yeah, do any names there? Oh, no, I know where you're going with that. Do any names come to mind? Like, who's the coolest person you've ever met? Like, besides me, but who's the coolest person you've ever met?
Oh gosh, Scott Robertson.
Oh yeah, I have actually met him. He is pretty cool.
I said to him, "Oh my God, you are so cool!" Like I actually did. He is.
I only had an hour with him, but he was pretty cool in that hour. Yeah, he authentically owns it. He's very, very quirky too.
He was cool. He was like, "Should we take a photo?" I'm like, "Oh my God, you really?" He goes, "I've got a longer arm." Our conversation wasn't an hour. I would love to have an hour with him. Our conversation was probably like 25 minutes, maybe.
Yeah.
He is so passionate. He is so, like, I felt like I was talking to myself. Oh God, I shouldn't say that, but like, oh, yeah.
Well, the difference with your interaction, Michelle, is that he had an opportunity to leave. He was kind of stuck with me because we were on a flight together.
Oh wow! Okay. Oh wow.
He can't change seats. I've got him stocked, locked, and right where I want him.
Yeah. He can't just go to the bathroom and lock the door because the flight attendants will be like, "Excuse me."
Yeah. He could have put his headphones on though, but like he was pretty interactive.
Amazing. Well, I was just sitting. You know, my intuition all the time, Luke. It just never lets me down. So I left home and went for a walk down at Wynyard Quarter, and I was actually on the phone. So there was no one on Wynyard Quarter. There was just no one on the wharf, and then Scott Robertson was there. And literally, I just like hung up the phone. I just was so rude to whoever I was talking to. I said, "Oh my God, I got to go," and I said, and whipped out the AirPods, and he was right there, and I just said, "Scott," and he went, "Yes," and we just talked. We just talked for about, and then we met some guys from Emirates Team New Zealand, and he didn't even say, "Oh, Michelle, I've got to go now." You know, we talked to the guys from Team New Zealand, but we talked about backing yourself. You know, we talked about, and like what lit me up, like truly what lit me up was how passionate he is about what he does. Like his light was just so bright. Now he's cool. You know, I'm going to say that because, you know, it was game day here, test game in Auckland, and, you know, he was obviously just getting some sunshine, clearing his head, and we spoke about the water, we spoke about doing the things off the field, like, you know, we kind of dove in there, and I could have just honestly talked to him for hours. But I felt really lit up because, like, he is, in my opinion, you know, this is what he loves. He's doing what he loves, and that was awesome. So he would be the coolest person I've met, like, yeah, of late.
Is he single?
No, he's been married for a long time. I've got children. Yeah.
Oh, well, it sounded like there was quite a vibe there, but anyway.
I think it just, you know.
I do, and I mean that authentically, you know, when you sort of, because you guys don't know each other from a bar of soap, it's like when you just, you vibe and you just connect, you know, there's some form of a, you know, and it doesn't necessarily have to be, I'm not going down the path of like romantic. No, it's just instant respect from both parties. It was like he was like, oh my God, you could do my PR or something, you know, because but I understand like his love for the water, you know, like I swim every day. I'm in the water every day. I swam this morning, you know, we've got a storm happening outside, but I swam for an hour. We spoke about, he knows I'm a coach and a music manager. I think he's quite into music. So I think knowing that I was a music manager and a coach kind of was like, oh, you know, so immediately there was kind of like similarity and like-mindedness. But he already knew who you were.
No. I said I'm
right, gotcha.
And I feel like music is a big thing for him as well. But what was really cool was that conversation with him left a real imprint in my heart. You know, and it's those types of conversations that I love because they really do lift you up. You know, they really do. I just walked away feeling so inspired. It was great. It was really amazing.
And it's one of those things whereby, though, like you mentioned earlier, how it all started for you with the intuition part, you know, because those types of moments don't come across too often, and I've always wondered why or how they come about. Those serendipitous moments when you're at the airport and your buddy, you know, it's frantically rushing around, and then someone comes and helps you last minute, or you're like, man, is this universe kind of planned at the times of moment? Yeah, those very nuanced connections and scenarios. I just always wonder, I'm like, is that just two people that have just got the similar frequencies, and then the world goes, oh, these frequencies, it's like magnetic, and they have to just collide.
I know. And you think about that because, like, what are the chances? I'm sitting at home. I didn't even like putting any makeup on, or I literally was just sitting here, literally, and went, no, it's time to I'm just gonna walk up, you know, and God, I was just in my, you know, gym gear, and
you're in your Lululemons.
I wasn't my Lululemons. I wasn't my Lululemons.
Not Under Armour. Oh, okay.
No, always spray. Last thing, no. Smell is important. Always spray before you leave the house. But it's amazing.
We'll touch on that in a bit, actually. That's a great topic. I will dive into that. Continue. Sorry, keep going.
I just think, you know, I mean, my mother's really intuitive. I'm really intuitive, and my daughter's really intuitive. And we all trust it. We all act on it. Like, you know, but for me, it's been one of my strengths in the music business and in coaching, you know, like it's because I really trust it. But how that's come about, and also for Luke and my daughter, is practice, trial and error, you know, like life saying, look, Michelle, get up and go now, and acting on it. And the more that you do that, Luke, the more that you trust your intuition, the more you just don't doubt it. You know, but you've got to act on it. You've got to practice it, and then suddenly you're just like, yep, Okay. It happens to me literally all the time, and it's one of my guiding lights in life. And like, what are the chances of Scott Robertson being down there on his own, getting some sun, me going, right, I need some sun, I'm just going to walk down there right now, and the two of us, so yeah, I think sometimes truly, the more we can get out of our own way, and if a thought comes in your mind, or if you want to text someone, like if a friend comes up in your mind, Luke, and you're getting in the elevator, but your mother comes up, so send her a text, send her a heart, just because I really truly believe that, the more that we can act on that, and connect like that, I think it's good.
Yeah, it is good. Do you think some people are born more intuitive than others, and then the two-prong approach is, can intuition be taught to people that don't naturally have it?
What I would imagine that we're all born with it. I imagine we're all born with it. It's just about awakening that part of you, like we've all got different parts of ourselves that some are dormant, but because I was raised with a mother who's very intuitive, I from a little age, little girl, I was around that. So my ability to tap into that was probably activated at a super young age. Same with my daughter. So I think we all have the ability to be intuitive, and for me it's really just like, it's like my higher self is talking to me, not my thoughts, which I've actually put into my head, right? Like, and who's to say that they're right or wrong, because I've just put them there. But
did you put them and place them into your head? That's quite phenomenal. That is, you've placed them in there, you've unlocked something. You don't need a brain surgeon to go in there and place thoughts into your head.
No. And who knows whether they are true, whether they're just a story I'm telling myself.
Oh, they're always never true.
You're right. But if you can get past that, your intuition is saying something to you, then that's not you implanting your thoughts in your mind.
Where do thoughts come from?
Well, thoughts come from a feeling, I think.
Well, thoughts create feelings, and feelings create emotion.
Yeah, so I don't know, where do thoughts come from?
Must be our programming. It surely has to. Like before our prefrontal cortex adult brain is. So I'm just grabbing my neck here and doing a small massage, because every time I chat to you, I weirdly get goosebumps because I do vibe on our conversations.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. Oh, that's
no, because it's always just such great chats, and I'm just very, I would say I'm really quite intuitive and very connected. I mean, that's why I run the show, because I love chatting to people. But yeah, don't take that too far. I mean, there's other people that also invoke that. No, but I mean, it's certain, but it's exact. The reason why the goosebumps are elongating is it's because of the it's seeing other people glow. It's like, because I can see how passionate you are about that, and I it's funny when you were talking about that, because I watch other people, and when they're so authentic to themselves and are glowing and doing what they love, it just really like froths me up. Back to that word froth. You can,
I got it down here. Yeah.
But it is. It's good. No, I can just see how excited you are. And you literally just speak from the heart, and it's just great. Yeah, it's good.
Oh, thanks. It's so funny because you're touching unique. So like often, I do my coaching sessions, and I'll have a band in front of me, or an artist or whomever, and I'll just get hot around the neck. I'll start to get a little bit of temperature, and I just have to, and it's me just kind of like tapping into that intuitive space. But I just roll with it. Like I can't be anything else. Like I can't. So yeah.
No, it's great. It's chemicals releasing in our body. you know, when you're excited, or you know, it's releasing either adrenaline, or it could be, it's literally your body, and that's why, because you feel it within your body, right? Thoughts create feelings create emotions. So my thought process then was like, oh my god, I'm so pumped that someone else is so pumped, and then that creates the feeling, and then that feeling creates the emotion. And so, but then it comes out in your body, you know, like it's like when people walk into like their favorite concert, they're like, oh my god, I just got tingles.
Yes. Yeah.
It's like that's literally like a chemical reaction happening in your body.
Yeah.
Not that I'm a neuroscientist, and look, ladies and gentlemen out there, no disclaimers here. Yeah, please don't take our financial or emotional advice seriously. Please consult your physician. Anyway, so back to it. Where were we? Oh yes, I wanted to touch on when you said smell, because smell is so important. Like, what do you feel? It is so important across so many different areas. And okay, here's a couple of scenarios. So like walking in nature, right? You're just smelling either the fresh bark or or some tree. And even like my mum's a passionate gardener. When I walk through a garden and you're smelling those gorgeous flowers, and then into perfumes and all of that. But it's interesting, eh? What is it that our human bodies like? What creates a great smell, and then because the shit smell is, i.e., BO, smelly feet, and our human reaction is like, oh, that's so bad. But who created us as humans to dictate what is a good and a bad smell? Like what is lavender and lime and all these good? What do they smell so good, and what does a farmer's sock smell so bad? Yeah,
there you go. I don't have an answer for you. I don't have an answer for you.
What do you love the most though about like good smells?
Oh, for me,
like what does it do to you? Does it motivate you? Does it inspire you? Does it?
It just well, for years and years and years, I've always burnt incense, you know, and so incense always just made me feel at home. It didn't make me feel alone. For some reason, when I burn incense, you know, like I don't feel alone. I love creating an atmosphere to be in, you know, like a beautiful smell, light a candle.
That's interesting. So a smell creates an added presence to the room. For
you.
That's
for me, it's same as my daughter, funnily enough. The moment, if we could just, you know, if we're in a hotel room, which, you know, the moment we'd light some incense, you know, like suddenly we just feel warm and we're at home, and it's kind of just like a sense of home.
I love that. Yeah. And you're like it's and See, froth levels are high when the incense it's so good. Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. Like, it's amazing what a smell can do to someone's mood.
Yeah, it is. You know, like
same with music.
Yep. So it's the senses, obviously. You know, like I'll go and get coffee at our cafe here, and you know, often they'll go, "Oh my God, Michelle, you smell great this morning." But I won't leave at 7 a.m. to go and get coffee without spraying whatever it is I feel for the day. You know, and so I think, you know, and that uplifts other people as well. So it's just, again, that's from my mother.
That's
you know that comes from me being a little girl with mum and her, you know, her beauty.
You talk about your mum a lot. Yeah. What do you think the sort of two biggest characteristics or traits or life lessons she's you mentioned a few of them earlier, but ultimately, if like we were to just talk about your mum and like how she's turned you into the human you are today, what would be a couple of the key things that come to mind that what your mum's instilled in you?
Oh God, so much. Geez, she's a force. Wow. I think the biggest thing is like being back from America and being here with her in Auckland. What I said before, like she just chooses joy every day. Like no matter what the situation, whatever brings her joy, she says yes to. And since I've been back from America, what she, two things, like, oh no, the other thing is she doesn't sweat the small stuff. So like she just lets it go. Like she's almost like, I don't want to feel bad, so I'm going to let it go. Like she literally just wants to enjoy her life. And so, you know, there's so much going on, and, you know, bad things are happening, sad things, negative things, like chaos is happening. And mum's obviously mindful and aware of it. But if she can't control it, you know, she'll just let it go, because it's almost like she just wants to keep herself in a high vibrational space.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've
powerful. Some people have mastered it, some haven't. I'm still learning it. Yeah, I think it's an ever evolving learning
totally
curve. But,
totally.
And also being like, oh, why? There's a great quote I like. Hey, life's 10% what happens to us and 90% how we react to it.
Oh, big time.
Like that reaction piece is so sort of, you sit there and go, why did I let that ruffle me, or what, you know? And I do ultimately think that's got to come from our programming, you know, from our upbringing, 100%, right? That's sort of the artifact or the fossil that we just relate to, because that was what's happening before our adult brain developed.
Yeah.
All those the muscle memory type stuff, and that's surely where that comes from.
Yeah, I would imagine so. But you're so bang on. Like, I mean, like that's why every day I prioritize, you know, movement, whether it's the pool, walking, some form of fitness I do every day. And I do that for my mental health. I don't do it for my body. I actually do it for my mental health. So I'm a better daughter, I'm a better manager, I'm a better mother. And my biggest thing is that the more I exercise, or, you know, like, I respond better to life. I don't react, Luke. And it's how I want to be, you know, like I can't control what life is going to throw at me today. Like, you know, I cannot control. What I can control is how I respond to it. You know, and like I got out of the pool this morning, and I didn't want, it's like, we're supposed to have a cyclone hitting Auckland. It's fine at the moment, but it was pretty crappy when I walked down to the pool this morning. It wasn't easy, you know, like it was, you know, I could have just stayed home. But I did my swim and I was getting changed, and I was like, oh my God, my body just feels better. You know, like I literally like how I feel right now, because I feel capable. And I didn't feel that going down.
Does weather impact your mood?
Yeah, mood follows action, I think. You know, and I do. I don't like, you know, gosh, we could all be very reactive to life at the moment, and I don't want to be that way. I want to respond, and what I can't control, I can't control. I'll focus on what I can control, which is how I respond. So,
emotion, energy, and motion.
Yeah.
So true, though, isn't it? You know, when you just feeling a little lull or feeling a bit down, it's like, man, just going out for it. Doesn't have to be hectic, but a long walk. And then after the walk, you're like, oh, I wonder what's happening. Well, it's just simply the endorphins are releasing, and you go, but it just creates better thoughts going on.
Yeah, it really does. You know, like even if you're sitting and you feel a bit stuck in something, I'll just get up and put some, you know, music on, and just jump up and down for a minute. I'll do that, you know. And
couple of star jumps.
Yeah, I do. When I'm brewing my coffee in the morning, I do 50 star jumps while my coffee, and then squats. So all you're ultimately doing is trying to get your froth levels high. Yeah. I'm on a whole new thing now with my froth levels. Okay.
Oh, you can write it down, and you can thank Mr. Productions. He actually, I think he does have merchandise and shirt. Oh, he does. He's got, you can search it. Just search, so Mr. MSFT Productions.
Yep.
They're like surf, skate, snow, motocross, you know, can produce great content. But yeah, he's got, and also he does that Spark That Chat, all about helping the youth with big talks around schools to hopefully limit our high youth suicide rates. But he's got merchandise called Spread the Froth. Yeah.
Oh my God, what's his name?
Jack Jensen.
Okay, okay, great. Love it.
Yeah, no,
Froth.
yeah.
Tell him I'm going to be spreading the froth. I might have to get a t-shirt. You know what? I'll go online. I'd get a t-shirt, I think.
Oh, that's so good. Hang on, Jack. You heard it here first, Jack. She's going to get a shirt.
Yeah.
I don't want to be commissioned. You know, the commission that I'd take as a usual snake oil salesman, put that to a charity of your choice. How good.
Yeah, absolutely. There you go. Nice work.
That's so good.
Yeah.
Gosh, I'm frothing on all sorts of levels. How good. Hey, let's talk about, I just want to delve a little bit more into your time in LA. So you were there over 15 years, right?
Oh, 20 plus.
20 plus. Yeah, right. And so ultimately, like, what was that huge calling for you to come back to obviously the motherland or get out of LA? Like, what was the big driver of you going, you know what, I've just had enough and I'm going to why aren't you still living in LA?
There were a couple of factors. One was my daughter chose not to go to college in America, and she chose to do law at Otago. So when she made that decision, I was also like, okay, I'm also ready. And I just didn't want to live in another country apart from Luca. So that was the biggest driving force. The second one was I was on the phone to my mother every day. Like, oh my God, like I ring you, like I always have, but I was like, that's really interesting. And the third one, or the three and four, third one was I really wanted to come home and find an artist from Samoa and break them globally. I wanted to find, something from the South, I'm saying Samoa, but from the South Pacific, that an band artist that I could do what I did globally. So that was the third one. And the fourth one was I wanted to transfer my skills as a music manager and as a life coach into the world of sports. I'm very passionate about sports. Is really like sports and well-being and really, oh my God, I really get frothed up. Like, wow.
I love it.
I'm actually starting to froth.
I tell you what, I don't know if Jack's already got it yet, but I'm starting the Instagram handle. It's just going to be I'm sure it's taken already, but just froth. But It could be froth 2.0. Could be. Anyway, we'll think about it.
I'm so into it because I get really frothed about sports, So anyway, I thought, what? Why don't I come back from America and look at transferring or getting involved in sports in the way that I've been involved in the music business. So those were kind of the factors, but also, the music business was changing at the same time. You didn't need to actually live in LA to do the work. Like I was spending a lot of time in New York because the bands that I was managing were in New York and I was in LA. People didn't often know, Luke, whether you were in Los Angeles or in Auckland, because things had sort of developed in such a way. And at that time, I was pretty well, people knew me. I knew who I needed to know kind of thing. So I thought, but Luca, my daughter, choosing to go to Otago was kind of like the catalyst, I suppose. And then that opened up to, well, why don't I, look for why don't I find an artist from Samoa and transfer my skills into the sports world? So it was sort of those factors.
Gotcha. Nice. And let's bridge into obviously what you're doing now with Evolve, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sort of run us through that. What are you ultimately trying to achieve with that? What's the ethos and why did you start it?
I started Evolve because just before COVID, I came back and I was still managing rock bands in America. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, this is really interesting. This is because COVID hit. And so everything that everyone went through during COVID. And I was just like, the live was kind of over, no one was able to play live. And then when the world opened back up again, I was just like, wow, how can I add value? How can I bring value and receive value as a music manager? Like, whoa, so I'd done this life purpose coaching course and I upgraded and did another one. And I thought, oh my God. And I was on the phone to someone in Los Angeles and they said, oh my God, Bakker, you should be a coach for creatives. Like you should be coaching musicians. I was like,
is that your nickname, Bakker?
Yeah, I think everyone in the music business calls me Bakker. Yeah. But it's very funny. And I was like, oh my God, that's it. I could use my music management knowledge, skills, and my yoga teacher, life coach, and just school of life, skills into coaching. And that really excited me. But when he gave me this name, Coach for Creatives, I was like, oh, that's who I could be. I think I'm more of a change agent, but, I don't know. I am really. But my Instagram changes. Change agent. Coach for Creatives, I might just have to, I froth. I'm a frother. I don't know.
Jack of all trades, master of them all.
There you go. You're coming up with these great things today, Luke. I change it all the time, but the coaching, my God, Luke, that it's also really been amazing because I charge for it. Okay.
Well, of course, yeah.
No. You're looking at me going, well, why wouldn't you? As a music manager, it's very, very tricky to earn money because you're on a commission, right? And I was like, oh my God, how am I going to charge for these coaching sessions? I thought, no, I will. And my gosh, everyone that is really happy to pay for that coaching session, I think it's a sense of value and a sense of worth, and also it's so good for me because it's just like, oh my God, I give them so much, like I tune into them pre our session. So I ask them to send me everything and I download and I use my intuition and I really feel into it. Because if they're willing to spend money, to spend time with me, I'm going to give them everything I have. And then typically we meet or I'll do online. And my intuition kicks in, and it's a really such word, like the sessions, Luke, I'm going to say this, leave them feeling hopeful. Feeling like they can, and that brings me so much joy because they can, but I think it's
that's a good point. I'm sorry to interrupt, but your intuition would kick in based on the experience and knowledge that you've got, and you would easily identify whether or not someone really wants it or not. You know what I mean? Like, in fact, there's a case scenario. Remember that woman that I think I
oh yes,
and you were like, yeah, nah.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right. And you're just like, nah, she doesn't want it hard enough. And I was like, I saw that. I was like, she's just doing it for clout and all of the fluffy stuff. Yeah, no, but that's your good intuition. And I felt that too. Not that I've been in the music industry.
About that. Yeah.
You bang on. So your intuition is a key component and an absolute value driver for you.
And I care. I genuinely really care. So when I have a band or an artist, I want to expand, I want, at the moment I'm having conversations and I want to develop this because, musicians are struggling, obviously, to earn money or not just earn money, but it's kind of like a driving factor in their mental health is not earning money. So it is kind of at the forefront. Being seen and being heard is another challenge. So musicians are up against a lot, but I'm having conversations way too many than I would have wanted to at the moment about industry professionals, and what they're going through, what we're all going through, because not just musicians, Luke, that are having to navigate these new waters that we're in, it's industry professionals. And so
where can they find you? What's do the plug? What www.
Yeah, just actually Facebook, Michelle Bakker Evolve, or Instagram, Michelle Bakker. Yeah.
Oh, very good.
I find Instagram fascinating because if you reach out to me, I can I can really download and really get a sense of what's going on, or on Facebook, and so I'm just trying to my intention is to target or be available, I guess, for industry professionals, at the moment, because we forget about the people behind the scenes.
Yeah.
We publicists, you know, like managers, you know, like we're all in it because we care, and people forget that. Wow, I wonder what it's like for Luke. I wonder how it is for Luke right now, you know. So I want to kind of like
really tough, I tell you. Well, that's a whole nother podcast. No, I'm just kidding. The what you said around, which I found quite fascinating, like is Evolve in its own realm and world of its own. Is there anyone else out there in the market offering a similar service? Oh, right. Because I found like your USP, like your unique selling point. I was thinking, sounds quite niched and nuanced and quite unique.
Well, it was next door when it was the Stamford Hotel. It was one of the lovely valet guys there that came up with Evolve, because I'd just come back from America. I think I just come out of COVID. I was having a coffee, and he came over and he was so lovely. He was like, "How are you today?" And we're chatting. I said, "I think I'm going to develop this coaching for creatives, and I need to come up with a name." And he goes, "Oh, Evolve. You're always evolving, darling. You know, like you're always." And I went, "Oh my God, the butterfly Evolve. We're always in, like, it's a journey, right? Life's a journey. It's about the journey. This is one of the most important things that I share in my coaching. It's not about the result. It's about you and I today being frothed up about what we're doing.
Let's go.
We're not worried about August, because we're enjoying this moment right now. And if we can put our whole energy and our excitement into this moment, August will happen. But so many creatives have this whole, you know, like, I want this record deal, or I want the end result. So when he said to me next door, "Oh my God, you're Evolve," I went, "Oh my God, that's it." So, and Evolve to me is that we're always evolving, you know, like we're always growing. The most important thing is we've got to learn to keep letting go. Let go. Don't be afraid to let go. Oh, you know, of who you thought you were. You know,
levels are high. Michelle's got her sensors on, and the froth levels are high. And we're going into Easter weekend with a high level of froth, ladies and gentlemen.
Let go and froth.
How good. How have you evolved in the last 3 years? And then I'll tell you how I've evolved in the last 3 years.
Letting go and accepting.
Surrender.
Whoa, biggest. Yeah. So surrender, acceptance, and letting go.
So hard to do, though, isn't it? So easy in theory without all our monkey chatter brains. It is so challenging to surrender to what is, not what you want or desire.
What you want is what you've put your thoughts into your mind. You don't even know what you've put those. I want this. Well, you know, how do you really know what you want? Those are your thoughts. Well, your thoughts have come from what? A wound when you're a little kid, or your father leaving, or whatever. So you've put that thought. So how do you not get? You know. So for me, movement.
I tell you what I want, what I really, really want. I tell you what I want, what I really, really want. I want. What do you want? Yeah, very good. Sorry, I just, And plug for Spice Girls there.
No, good. So, you know, it's just like, you know. So
in the last 3 years, Michelle, sorry to tell you, you've learned to accept, surrender, and just be, right? And versus so the 3 years, so prior to 3 years ago, were you were even was it fair to say you were struggling to accept, surrender, and just be?
Well, I'd just come back from America, landed in Auckland, and didn't think I was sort of, I'll be back in America in 6 months, and then COVID hit. So suddenly, you know, that was huge. So yeah, there was ego in play. There was a lot of different factors that I was faced with, and I just had to keep trusting that I chose this. That this is what I need. This is what I want for myself. You know, and again, I had to push past those initial thoughts, push past them, and go past those thoughts and go, yep. Just surrender and trust, Michelle. Surrender and trust. But the biggest thing then was then it's really difficult to let that part of you go. Oh, that Michelle that was in Los Angeles or whatever, you know, that side of, or that part of you go.
Oh, so you were challenging with your ego there.
Oh yeah, massive. And it didn't get me anywhere except not being at peace with myself. And look, I don't want to live without being at peace with myself. Like, it doesn't serve me. And I want to be healthy. And so that means I want to have peace within my being, in my body, being peaceful and calm. So my vibration is high. So I'm living on a high frequency. And I want to live like that. It's important. I want to live like that. So but I'm glad that I had to deal with that, because, when you have to deal with the old burning of your own ego, there's no better way than to share that, with others when you've actually gone through it yourself. So I'm just.
I agree. I think every human deserves to live like that, and in peace and in harmony with their oneself and their best version of themselves.
Yes.
Sadly, that's not the reality. Let's not fluff it up. No, it's not, for a range of contributing factors. However, if one does have the resources accessible to them and they've got the right energy and mindset to get to some form of peace of mind, right? If that's the ultimate goal.
Yeah. I mean, the Evolve's motto, I think, if you want to say motto, like for me, it's begin within. Just everything starts for me within, and since I've been back from America, I've really learned how to be in relationship with myself.
Do you believe in manifestation?
I do. But what I believe first and foremost is so important is being in relationship with you, because it's got to come first, and so I've since I've been back from America, I've got into a routine which I never had. I never had the luxury of having a routine until I came back, and I was always scared of routine. And my gosh, it's been the best thing, routine and consistency have been really good for me. So again, you use the word resources. It's like, not every day is easy, but if we have an awareness of those resources, we can perhaps tap into. Oh, I'm having a really awkward moment. Oh, I feel really scared right now. Oh, you know what? I'm going to get up and I'm going to go for a walk. It's just, I'm not saying that I'm not saying that we're not all without fear, or we don't feel scared or insecure or all those feelings. But if we can tap into those resources to help us, to live the life that we deserve, then that's what we all deserve. So begin within for me. And, I try to share with my clients all the time, like the more that we can go within and the more that we can have this love and trust for ourselves, whatever's happening up there, like, oh my God, Luke, you're the best 1 minute. Then the next minute, oh my God, Luke,
Thank you very much. I do appreciate that. Thank you very much. You can keep saying that all day, every day. It makes my froth levels go up, actually.
Froth levels on the increase.
And now you're at Coachella right now. I like that. Let's go. Do you believe we're a product of our environment?
No.
Drinking water out of a wine glass, all class from. I'm just going to call you Bakker now. Based on your response to when I said, "Oh, is your nickname Bakker?" You did actually disgruntle you, but I don't think you like that nickname. Is that fair to say?
No, the reason why I love that you noticed that was that, like, for years and years and years,
I'm very intuitive.
You are. I like that, like the wine glass. No, because Jimmy was my nickname in the music business forever. Because I loved Jimi Hendrix, and so from when I started in the music business, like straight out of school, Jimmy was my nickname, and so I still get, the older friends from the day, the colleagues will go, "Hey, Jim." But in America, when I went up there, they all just call me Bakker. So it was like, Bakker's turning up, Bakker. So, and then I'm Dharma Shakti. My yoga teacher gave me my Sanskrit name, Dharma Shakti. So I don't know.
You've got a few nicknames going on. I love it. Oh, sorry, what was that?
Greg Johnson nicknamed me Stitch. So
Okay.
he'll go, hey, Stitch, I'm coming to Auckland, because I always stitch things back together.
Did you say Jack Johnson or Dick Johnson?
Greg Johnson.
Oh, Greg. Oh, right. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So he gave me the nickname Stitch, So yeah, there's a few nicknames.
Yeah, you got a few. What's your favorite? None of them.
No, I think Jimmy.
Like Jimmy, yeah, fair enough. Yeah,
Yeah,
nice.
Jimmy kind of was like with the first vinyl I ever bought was Jimi Hendrix, and Jimmy kind of spoke to me as a really young. Yeah, I think Jimmy. I think that's. I
good.
still get called Jimmy, so.
Oh, very good. Hey, let's get back to, so you don't think we're a product of our environment. Why is that?
Oh, so it's funny because when you ask me a question, I will answer it, and then it's kind of like it needs a little bit more thought.
Oh no, it's good. You're thinking on the fly, which is great. That's what the beauty of a human conversation is.
Yeah, when you say environment, I'm just gonna, again, for myself, I can be, in a luxurious hotel room or a tent on the beach, and I'm still who I am. I still feel as excited about who I am and what I'm doing, regardless of, the luxury hotel room or the tent on the beach. For me, I'm a product of what's inside of me, how I feel inside of me. So I can walk out and okay, when I was living in Hawaii and I was surrounded by beautiful beaches and nature and, oh my God, just gorgeous. And then left Kauai and went to Los Angeles, and then suddenly I'm around, wow, everything, homeless and wealth and all sorts of things. But I never changed inside of here in me. I feel like you're a product of your internal environment. I have to go. That's probably a big conversation, but for me, it's an internal environment.
Yeah, which is subjective to the individual. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot to unpack there.
Yeah.
We need a 3-hour podcast.
I know, because it's
Jimmy, we need a 3-hour podcast. Now that I know that Jimmy is your favourite nickname, I'm not going to call you Bakker. So, but Michelle, that is all we have time for today on the Luke Farr Show to motivate, educate, and inspire a next generation of leaders. And you've certainly done that. You are an absolute bundle of energy and joy, and you froth on so many high levels. And it is invigorating, it's inspiring, and it's exactly what we want for the audience. So thank you very much from the bottom of my heart. I appreciate our conversations always.
Thank you so much, Luke. Honestly, I love chatting with you. And
I do. Most people find it quite painful because I probe them and I put them on the spot and I challenge them and I arm wrestle them. But no, I only do it out of literally trying to get the most authentic version out of that person.
Yeah. No, really good, great questions. I love chatting with you. And Tofa.
Very good. Yes. I'll just hit stop record and then we can have a little thing.